The Giants shocked the NFL on Tuesday night when they agreed to trade superstar wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. to Cleveland Browns in exchange for a first-round pick, third-round pick and safety Jabril Peppers. That decision might have turned the upcoming NFL draft on its head. More than ever, the Giants should be motivated to go and get their franchise quarterback. That's not the only move that has impacted how the draft might play out, as top-level players including Antonio Brown, Dee Ford, Nick Foles, C.J. Mosley and Landon Collins have all changed teams. Here's an emergency mock draft to react to the Beckham trade and all the other major changes. Odell Beckham traded. Giants just did Eagles a huge favor with hilariously bad Browns deal. The Giants traded Odell Beckham to the Cleveland Browns and it should pay dividends for the Philadelphia Eagles. 1. Arizona Cardinals QB Kyler Murray. Oklahoma. Noise has died down on the Murray to Cardinals speculation, though that's mostly because the noise of free agency and blockbuster trades quieted that down a bit. There's still a very good chance this happens, and the Cardinals should be able to get at least decent value for Josh Rosen, though nothing worth wasting a top 10 pick, which they used on him in 2018. What a strange organization. 2. New York Giants trade via 49ers QB Dwayne Haskins. Ohio State. The Beckham trade should be a sign that the Giants are, finally, going all in on a rebuild, and they won't be able to get on the right track until they find a franchise quarterback. They won't be getting one with the No. 6 pick, and if they feel like Haskins can be that guy, they have to do whatever they can to go and get him. They should have gotten much more draft capital out of the Beckham trade, but they'll have to make do with what they have, and this trade, explained below, should be enough to get the job done. Giants trade first-round pick, no. 6. Browns first-round pick, no. 17. Fourth-round pick, number 108, and a 2020 second-round pick for 49ers first-round pick, no. 2. And 7th-round pick, no. 143. 3. New York Jets edge Josh Allen. Kentucky Jets thought they were getting Anthony Barr, and planned to use him as an edge rusher, before he reneged. Allen is perhaps the most athletically gifted rusher in this draft and has greater potential than Barr anyway. 4. Oakland Raiders to Nick Bosa. Ohio State. As long as the Raiders don't mess this up, they could end up with the consensus best player in this draft if Bosa somehow falls this far. He's an elite-level talent at a premium position and could make the Raiders feel a little bit better for the disastrous Khalil Mack trade last year. 5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers DL Rashawn Gary. Michigan Buccaneers invested heavily in the defensive line last year and it didn't exactly work out. Gary has elite athleticism and the potential to be a special player in the Buccaneers' new 3-4 defense. 6. San Francisco 49ers trade via Giants. DT Quinnen Williams. Alabama 49ers just traded for Dee Ford on Tuesday, so an edge rusher isn't necessarily a need, and they already have a quarterback, thus allowing them the ability to move down a few spots and accumulating a significant draft haul in the process. Oh, and they still wind up with arguably the most talented player in the draft. Not a bad deal at all. 7. Jacksonville Jaguars WRDK. Metcalf. Ole Miss. The Jaguars got their quarterback in Nick Foles. Now they need to build the rest of the offense, which has a lot of holes. First and foremost, Foles needs weapons. The two best options here are Iowa tight end T.J. Hawkinson and Metcalf. We went the latter, a true freak of nature and fast riser after the combine. 8. Detroit Lions LB Devin White. LSF Lions addressed a few needs in free agency already, namely defensive end Trey Flowers, but linebacker is still an issue. In terms of pure linebackers, White is the best one in this draft and an elite athlete who could make an impact from day one. 9. Buffalo Bills edge Montez Sweat. Mississippi State Sweat was probably the biggest winner at the NFL Combine, possibly locking himself into being a top 15 pick. The Bills loaded up on wide receivers in free agency but lacked pass rushers on defense. 10. Denver Broncos, T.J. Hawkinson. Iowa Broncos, for some reason, are counting on Joe Flacco at quarterback. Don't rule out Missouri QB Drew Lock, but Hawkinson is the TE1 in this draft and is already an elite blocker for the position in addition to being a solid pass catcher. If the Broncos want to win now with Flacco, they need to surround him with better weapons. This is a good place to start. 11. Cincinnati Bengals, OT Jawan Taylor. Florida. Taylor has the highest ceiling of any offensive tackle in this draft, and the Bengals need to do a better job of protecting Andy Dalton. 12. Green Bay Packers, OL Jonah Williams. Alabama Packers went all in on upgrading the defense in free agency, reeling in Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith and Adrian Amos. They also signed a guard, Billy Turner, but could still stand to upgrade the unit in front of Aaron Rodgers further. Williams can be a fit at tackle or guard. 13. Miami Dolphins, QB Drew Lock. Missouri. Teddy Bridgewater spurned the Dolphins in order to return to a backup role with the Saints. Even if Miami signs Tyrod Taylor to be its starter, they need to find someone to develop as their future at quarterback. After Haskins and Murray, Lock is the clear-cut third-best quarterback in this draft. 14. Atlanta Falcons, edge Clelin Ferrell. Clemson. Falcons upgraded on the offensive line in free agency but still have a clear need at defensive end. At this point, Ferrell is the best one on the board, a wildly productive star from Clemson. 15. Washington Redskins, WR Marquise Brown. Oklahoma Redskins lost Jamison Crowder in free agency, and without him, Washington might have the worst collection of receivers in the NFL. Brown has some Deshaun Jackson about him and would add some excitement to an unexciting offense. 16. Carolina Panthers, OT Andre Dillard. Washington State. The Panthers need an upgraded offensive tackle, especially as Cam Newton struggles with injuries. If Dillard falls this far, the Panthers should be ecstatic. He might be the best offensive tackle in this draft class when all is said and done. 17. San Francisco 49ers trade via Giants, WR Hakeem Butler. Iowa State. The 49ers have a quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, and a tight end, George Kittle, and an intriguing young receiver, Dante Pettis, but other than that their offense is utterly devoid of proven weapons. Butler is massive, 6'5", 227, with good speed, 4.48 40-yard dash, and an ability to win on 50-50 jump balls. He's a raw prospect, but has a high enough ceiling that he's worth a first-round pick. 18. Minnesota Vikings, DT Oliver. Houston. This is a rather precipitous fall for Oliver, who is an athletic freak, a defensive tackle, albeit somewhat undersized, 6'2", 287. He shouldn't fall this far, but if he does, the Vikings should pounce, especially after losing Sheldon Richardson in free agency. 19. Tennessee Titans, Noah Fant. Iowa Titans signed WR Adam Humphries in free agency but could still stand to add more weapons around Marcus Mariota. Delaney Walker should be back from his season-ending injury, but it's unclear if he'll be the same player, and two tight end sets are all the rage. Fant is as good as it comes athletically at the tight end position. 20. Pittsburgh Steelers, WR Brown. Ole Miss. The Steelers need to replace Antonio Brown, and picking Brown would be a good place to start. He's perhaps best suited as a slot receiver and would come to Pittsburgh fresh off a stellar college career. 21. Seattle Seahawks, OL Garrett Bradbury. NC State. The Seahawks just lost J.R. Sweezy to the Cardinals, and their offensive line already left much to be desired. Bradbury is the best interior offensive lineman in this draft and can start right away. 22. Baltimore Ravens, edge Brian Burns. Florida State. The Ravens just lost two edge rushers to other teams in Terrell Suggs and Zadarius Smith and simply can't afford to pass up adding a talent at the position like Burns. He's a raw prospect, but is the best pass rusher available at this point in the draft. 23. Houston Texans, Dalton Risner, Kansas State. Few quarterbacks were hit as much as Deshaun Watson last season, and Risner should be able to start right away at right tackle or guard. 24. Oakland Raiders, RB Josh Jacobs, Alabama. Raiders are set to lose their entire backfield in free agency, and Jacobs is the clear-cut best running back in this draft class. 25. Philadelphia Eagles, S. Nasir Adderley, Delaware. After signing DT Malik Jackson and WR Deshaun Jackson, the Eagles' needs in the first round are pretty clear-cut: defensive end, for depth; defensive tackle, for depth; offensive tackle, to eventually replace Jason Peters; and safety, to eventually replace Rodney McLeod. Wilkins is an intriguing pick here, but I went with Adderley because it's unclear if McLeod will be the same player he was pre-injury, and Adderley has the versatility to step in as the no. 3. Safety, and step in and help cover receivers and tight ends in the slot as needed. Plus, he's a local. 26. Indianapolis Colts, DL Christian Wilkins, Clemson. Colts are still in position to improve the roster via free agency and then draft for value in April. Wilkins is the best player on the board here and fills a need on the defensive line. 27. Oakland Raiders, LB Devin Bush, Michigan. After picking Bosa and Jacobs, the Raiders load up on defense to upgrade at a linebacker position in dire need of help. Bush is undersized, 5'11", but he's an impressive athlete, to say the least. 28. Arizona Cardinals, trade via Chargers, CB Greedy Williams, LSU. If the Cardinals pick Kyler Murray first, it'll behoove them to move quickly to deal Josh Rosen for draft picks. The Chargers need to plan for life after Phillip Rivers. As they'll be competitive as long as he's around, they won't be in position to draft anyone early for at least a couple of years, and Rosen is a great, young option on a rookie contract. As for Williams, the Cardinals could use a young corner to pair with Patrick Peterson, and Williams is still considered the best one in the draft by many. Cardinals trade quarterback Josh Rosen and a 6th-round pick, No. 179, to the Chargers for their first-round pick, number 28, and a 2023rd-round pick. 29. Kansas City Chiefs, edge Jalen Ferguson, Louisiana Tech. The Chiefs traded Dee Ford and released Justin Houston, making edge rusher their biggest need. At this point of the draft, there aren't many first-round worthy options available, but Ferguson was the most productive pass rusher in FBS history and should be able to at least help on passing downs right away. 30. Green Bay Packers, WR N'Keal Harry, Arizona State. Having addressed most of their needs in free agency and picking Dalton Risner earlier in this draft, Green Bay can turn its attention to improving its receiver core. After Devontae Adams, there's a lot of question marks, especially with Randall Cobb not returning. Harry can step right in and replace Cobb in the slot. 31. Los Angeles Rams, CB Rock Ya-Sin, Temple. The Rams spent a lot of money on their secondary last season, and it was mostly a failure as the defense wildly struggled all season, especially at defending opposing quarterbacks. Ya-Sin is a project but an intriguing talent who could eventually replace Marcus Peters, if not this season. 32. New England Patriots, OT Cody Ford, Oklahoma. Patriots lost Trent Brown to the Raiders and need a new left tackle. Ford is more talented than this pick, but with the board running this way, New England should be ecstatic to reel in Ford as their next young tackle. Zach Rosenblatt may be reached at zrosenblatt@newadvancemedia.com. Follow him on Twitter at ZachBlatt. Find NJ.com on Facebook.